Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the famous Hollywood Museum in historic Max Factor building, which was used for all of the old movie stars. They came and had their hair done and their makeup done, and it's really a great building to be in. Our guests are actress Elizabeth Regen and performer-writer Candice Guardino. Originally from New York City, actress Elizabeth Regen now lives in Southern California with her family. She graduated from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, where she earned her degree, her bachelor's and her MFA, both in writing?
Yes, both in writing.
But you didn't write, did you?
No. I mean, well, I did. I went to high school and I started to write for the school newspaper.
So were you going to be a journalist?
I know I was acting, because I've been acting since I'm a child.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, so acting was always a part of it?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you were writing dramatic plays.
Well, I was writing
for
the newspaper, and I was pursuing acting in Manhattan. It was, you know, because I'd always been auditioning in New York City since I was a kid. That was just kind of what I did. And then I started writing for the newspaper, and my teacher at the time just said, "Have you ever considered like writing plays or movies?" And I was like, "No." Because
as a journalist, you were writing good stories,
I was writing poetry and prose and that kind of thing. But yeah, I should have put 2 and 2 together. But luckily she did. And we found out about the program at NYU, and so, yeah, I studied.
Oh, so that's what happened. So it's a dramatic writing program, right?
Yes.
And what does that mean exactly?
It just means that we write screenplays, stage plays, teleplays, all kinds of, you know.
And how'd you get in? Because you have to audition, right?
Well, no, because I didn't go for acting, because I was acting, and if you go to a conservatory at NYU, you have to not have any agent or representation, and I had that.
You already had that?
I already had that.
Were you doing plays off-Broadway?
No,
what were you
I
doing?
was auditioning mostly for film and television, and I started that at about 16.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So you did a lot of commercials?
You know, I was very unlucky in commercials. Very, very unlucky. Seriously. I mean, they always thought I was sarcastic. You know. They did. Like, they didn't feel like I was really selling their product. They thought I was, like, making fun of it. So I did a lot of print.
I love that. Oh, yeah. You did a lot of print.
I did a lot of print. They didn't want me to say anything.
Did you do fashion?
I did. I did modeling. Yes.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I modeled until I was about 13, and then I decided I didn't like it because I wasn't able to, like, you know, really talk.
To be sarcastic.
No, to be sarcastic. I wasn't allowed to really, you know, hurt anybody's feelings. No, I'm just kidding. But I did do that, and then I decided I really wanted to act, so I started acting.
Oh, so you were acting then in New York?
Yes. Yeah, I was doing lots of indies, like a lot of independent film, and I kind of had my foot in the door as far as an actress goes, but then I had my foot in the door as a writer.
But what about stage? You were
I did do stage. I was with a repertory company called the City Kids Foundation. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And we wrote and staged all of our own shows.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And Donald Faison of Scrubs, he was in City Kids with me. Dash Myhawk of Ray Donovan, he was in City Kids with me.
Really?
Yeah, so a lot of us went on to do big things.
What age did you have to be?
You could be as young as 10 and as old as 22.
Oh, so it was a big
very big range, yeah.
So were the 10-year-olds helping write, or were they just acting?
No, you know, there was only 1 or 2, and there was Friday Night Coalition, which meant we all got together and we sat around and we talked about current topics, and then on Saturday morning we'd meet from Saturday morning until Saturday evening, and we'd create material from what we discussed last night. So it was very
Do they have
social.
anything like that in LA? Because
You know,
that's a great thing.
It was amazing because it was all inner city kids, and we were all really, dealing with the issues of the day, which was a great place to do it, and then turning it
Yeah.
into art. So they did have City Kids LA, but it was non-for-profit, and I don't know if it lasted.
Oh, because it's such a wonderful program.
It is.
And
And
look
it's-
what it put out.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's in New York still.
So what brought you to LA?
I don't. Well,
If you were doing all this work in New York.
I was actually. I really, really was. I did a sitcom with Whoopi Goldberg, and
All filmed there in New York?
We did the pilot here. We shot the pilot here.
Uh-huh.
They flew me here for the pilot. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
We stayed at the Sheraton at Universal, and we stayed in Telly Savalas' room. It was amazing. But I did that, and I did a bunch of stuff. Like I did Law and Order. I did a lot of the New York stuff.
I see.
And I just felt like I should really give LA a shot. Why not?
Well, but I still don't understand. You were writing, dramatic writing. Did you get any of your work on Broadway, off Broadway?
I did. Yeah, we
Off-Broadway?
did off-Broadway stuff for City Kids. Yeah, we did. We really did. We got it up. We had it at the Paramount Theater.
But then when you were working, doing these series, were you still writing? Or did you have time?
I was. Yes, I wrote I wrote a couple of screenplays. I wrote some 10-minute plays. I didn't have as much time to hustle those screenplays and sell them.
I see.
I mean, I had them in my pocket when I was acting.
I see. So then you came to LA because
I came to LA because I was coming out here for pilot seasons, and
from the New York shows.
Right, I would, every pilot season in January, I'd fly out here, and I'd audition, and I felt like there's so many more auditions here for so many different types of projects. And in New York, I was just going on tape, and the tape was getting sent over here.
Oh, I see. So you were here live.
Now I was here live.
Right.
But I did have to start my career completely over.
Did you?
Yeah, because nobody knew me.
But that's amazing because they knew your work. You did your work.
Yeah, I mean, they looked at my reel and they liked it, but they said, "Oh, she's that New York actress. She's a New York girl."
So do they think that you're from the stage? Because stage wasn't calling you here.
No.
TV wasn't calling you here. TV more.
TV
so.
more.
TV
yeah.
more.
And I just had done a film in New York, and so I had some really good credits to kind of springboard me, but still, they didn't really know who I was.
You were nominated for these awards, the Echo Theater Group.
Yes.
And that was with Gary Lennon, right?
Yes.
Tell us about him. He must be a really interesting guy.
Oh, he is amazing. Seriously,
Is he really?
He's so amazing. He's from New York City as well. He was basically orphaned by the age of 12. His mother committed suicide, and his father passed away.
So he has a lot of life experience.
A lot. And he had 5 brothers growing up in Hell's Kitchen.
You're kidding.
Yep.
Because he wrote a family thing.
Yes.
Is it about that,
It
what
is.
you're talking about?
It is.
And that's what you were nominated for, your acting.
I was, yeah.
That was so great.
Oh, it was so great.
And it's not a movie, it's a play.
It's a play. And
Okay,
we
go
did
on.
that.
Tell us more about it, because it's so interesting.
We did a family thing last year. I think it was the first time Gary ever put it up. And it was, I played Luis Cherico, sort of a drug counselor. I worked at Choices. And he had a brother, in this script, he had a brother coming out of jail. And the brother coming out of jail was going to murder the other 2 brothers because of different reasons.
Different.
Well, yeah, one of them ratted him out, and the other one slept with his wife.
Oh,
So he was going to kill them upon release.
Right.
And that brother, the killer, came to Choices right after he got out of jail to kind of get his life on the right track, and we started a love affair. He
Is
took me
that
to
right?
McDonald's. We went on a date. I ate fries. It was lovely.
And was everything written for you, and it was pretty easy for you to say and do?
You know, no, actually, I met Gary when I came out here through a friend at a party, and then I guess he heard me saying his words, because I am a New York girl, and he was writing New York stuff.
Yeah, so he could see. He didn't write it for you, though.
He actually did not, no. No, in the play that we're about to do.
Yes, Dates and Nuts. Did he write that with you in mind?
No, that's his first play. That was produced in New York 15 years ago.
Before a family thing?
Before.
Because I thought maybe you had this relationship with him, and now he's writing
Now
with
he's
you
making
in
me
mind.
well, you know what? He's on a new show on on the Starz network. He's, because he writes for television, and he was a writer-producer on Orange is the New Black.
He was a writer on that.
Yes, and a producer, and so every time he gets a big opportunity, he always lets me know that he has me in mind, and he's pitching me.
Isn't that great?
Oh, he's my only hope.
No, he's not.
I really think so.
You are your own hope. But the other play, which was the first play before Family, it's called Dates and Nuts. Tell us about that and your role in that.
Dates and Nuts is about an animal activist who lives in Brooklyn named Eve. That's me. And she's looking for love, and she can't find it. Every man she falls in love with is gay. So,
but it's funny.
It's hilarious.
Because she's my kind of person as a straight guy. It didn't matter who it was.
Oh, well, she just keeps getting attracted to gay men and getting into a relationship with them and finding out that they're gay. So her pursuit for a straight man is really, she's at this point, and when we start the play, she's extremely bitter. And she's finished with the male species.
And she knows
and
that she's teed
done.
up.
Yeah, she's done.
Who's your director?
Our director, Wilson.
Yes, Wilson Milan? Yes. How do you say it, Milan?
I think it's Milan. Yeah.
He's a Broadway actor too.
And he's done a lot of stuff in London and
right, in England, right.
Yeah. So he's just back. This is his first time back in the States in 15 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And he's directing you?
Yes.
How is it? What kind of technique does he have coming from West End things?
Yeah. We've had 3 rehearsals, and as of right now, he's very slow paced.
Yeah.
Well, he's 6'5".
And you're so fast.
Yeah, he told me yesterday, he goes, Elizabeth, I don't really ever have to tell actors this, but I really need you to slow down. I usually tell them to speed up, but you gotta slow down.
Dude,
yeah, he said that. And I was like, well, I didn't know I was fast. But he's great. And
are you rehearsing at the Bootleg Theater where it will be seen?
We are. We're rehearsing at the Bootleg Theater.
It's on Beverly Boulevard, which is great. It's like a loft space, right?
Yes, it is.
A black box.
Mm-hmm.
And then is your audience pitched and you're down, or are you up in the audience?
No, they're up and we're
you're
down.
You're
yeah, we're down.
Okay.
But it's a great place. There's a bar when you walk in, and you can get food, and it's really, really cool.
But Wilson was also on Broadway, so he's done a lot of work. And that's why I was interested in what kind of style he told you, and besides slowing down.
He didn't really get specific, really. He didn't. He talked about other shows that he's done as far as being an actor and being a director. He's told us about different actors that he's worked with.
But you said he's very tall.
6'5.5".
Wow.
He is tall, but he's quiet. So
what about the lighting and things like that?
They're working on it. They're putting up a grid last night they were going to put it up. It's pretty simple. It's like we're in a bar and we're on a stoop.
That's
and
it?
Then,
no
and
exchange?
then I fall in love and we're in a bed.
And that's it?
That's it.
So there's only like 2 sets. Now, is Gary writing the next play for you? Gary.
He has
Gary Lennon.
He has well, obviously he's got a family thing being optioned in New York, so we've got our fingers crossed for that, for somebody who wants to put on Broadway. And then he's got a new play. His newest play is called Contagious.
Oh, he does?
Yes, and he has a part for me in there.
There you are.
There I am.
Okay, Elizabeth. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching this part of the show. We'll be right back with actress, writer, Candice Guardino. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum on Highland and Sunset. Hollywood Boulevard, too. We're right in between. I'm with writer, actor, storyteller, singer, Candice Guardino, who was born in Brooklyn, raised in New York. She graduated from Wagner College in Staten Island, where she studied theater and dance. She's worked on TV, the stage, and in film. And your influences go way back to childhood, don't they?
Yes, they do.
What was that? What were you thinking? Were you thinking about stage when you were a child?
You know what? I was. I was the only 3-year-old in my dance class that didn't cry to go out there. I wanted to. Like, I left my mother and I said, I'm going. So I guess at some age you start to realize what you love to do.
Do you remember that at 3 years old? Going to dance class and all that?
I remember just always being in dance class and always being on stage. I remember that, like being really young. But then like 8, 9, 10, then I fully remember just loving to go out there. I couldn't wait till it was my turn.
And did you get to go out a lot?
I did. My parents were really great in the sense that they always kind of feeded off of us. So if we said we wanted to do more dance classes, they were like, all right, let's see what we can do. And then they made that happen.
Well, were they in showbiz? Was there showbiz in the family?
There is, not from my parents. My parents are shy, but my great uncle, very shy. My great uncle was an actor. His name was Harry Guardino.
Oh,
yeah, wonderful actor actually.
So, and that he was related to your father,
yes,
obviously.
He was on my father's side. Yeah,
he was on your father's side.
Yeah.
But was that an influence?
It was. I watched him as a child, and he was a fabulous actor. And it's always a little bit of watching someone else do it, and you go, I want to do that.
Really? Yeah. So you were in Staten Island, wherever that is.
Yeah.
I know where it is, but
it's like the forgotten borough. So Staten Island is
the forgotten.
Yeah, I call it the forgotten borough. It's a borough in New York. No one knows of it. It's like a fake, weird place, but it does exist. It's a small little island.
But don't you take the ferry there, and it's free?
You have to take the ferry to go to Manhattan. It is free. I mean, it's not the best ride. It's all right.
But how else do you do it?
That's it. Well, I ended up graduating from college, and then I went to New York because I was like, I can't stay here.
I think that's so funny that you say I was graduated from college and then went to New York. It was like across the river.
But that's a big deal. Like to Staten Islanders, especially to my mother, that was like I was going real far.
I didn't even want to ask about that because I thought, how can she say I went to New York? You were in New York.
Yeah, well, no. That was a big deal to Staten Islanders. Staten Island's like its own world, and it's like, you go to New York.
You went to Manhattan, okay. And what were you going to do there?
Well, when I got there, I figured I'm going to do what everyone else does. I'm going to audition. And soon enough, I started to realize I wanted to do more than just wait for it. I wanted to maybe write my own work. I wanted to perform my own stuff. And I wanted to create a show that was relatable because I just felt that so many kids and grown-ups went through what I went through growing up, which was growing up in a very unique Italian home.
So it was. So you did start to write. How did you start it then?
I did. I actually sat down with my dad and we went through like all memories of childhood and I just taped them. And then I said to myself, okay, what do I remember from these stories? And then I just started writing. Storytelling was how it started. And
that's really interesting that you sat with your father and got stories.
I did.
Were they from the whole family, or were they just stories that he knew about other Italian families?
It was mainly our family. We have enough material, which is actually... I don't need to go to anyone else. I got enough material for the next 50 years, which was great. I didn't have to really explore. But he has such a memory, my father. It goes back to when he will say to you, I was 3 years old. And you're like, oh my God, I was 7. Like he knows his dates and his timing. And that was so helpful for me because I remember, okay, when I was 7, this is what happened to me. And I started to relate it. And I started for storytelling and then I started scriptural writing.
That's why you say storytelling, because it doesn't have to be on paper, does it? You can talk it.
I think that's a talent within itself. I always loved storytelling. As a kid, my mother said I would make up bedtime stories for myself.
But talking,
just
right?
Talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk until I'm blue in the face. So I think it was something that my mom used to say to me, you're a storyteller, when I was little. And I never understood, but as I got older, I understood.
And then what about the comic part of it? I mean, sketch is kind of storytelling. Is it storytelling in a way?
It is, yeah. And I think comedy is something... I don't think you can teach it. I think you could teach like improv, but comedy's in you. My family's extremely funny. I've been impersonating them for years. I used to get in trouble when I was a kid. They'd be like, you're punished. Oh, yeah. I used to do it at the dinner table. They'd be like, go upstairs, you're punished.
Make fun of your grandmother?
Everybody.
And you'd use the accent?
I do, because my mother says talk and coffee. So I used to say, Ma, why you say coffee? And she said, you're punished. Get upstairs. A punishment was go upstairs.
So go upstairs. So here you are in Manhattan, writing, thinking about what you're going to do, talking to your family. Why do you come to L.A.?
Well, it's funny. Why do I know?
Or did you?
Well, I never did. I never tried. And everyone who started to see my show started as a workshop, and it started as just for me to test out material, I would do stand-up at night just to test out my material.
But what was the first show that you did?
The very first show I did, I called it SOS. And I called it that because in my house it was spaghetti. And I related it to modern days to Starbucks. So it was coffee. It was either coffee or spaghetti in my house. You were either drinking coffee or eating spaghetti. So that's what I just called the show as a title.
SOS, that's so great.
And I also always needed help in life. I always needed help. So it worked out. I asked God all the time for help.
That's so good.
And then from there, it kind of snowballed into people saying, you should put it up in New York. And when I had the opportunity to do a workshop, and I later called it Italian Bread, it got such a great response, and so many people were, you need to go to LA, and a producer came forward, I want to take it to LA.
Is that what happened?
It really did, and we kind of worked together.
But do you live here now?
Right now I'm here, yeah.
But are you going to stay?
I think so. I mean, things are going really well, and the show's opening here in LA in 3 weeks.
I didn't realize that we had a New York transplant who was just here with her show.
Yes.
I thought you were living here. I have to say something really funny because Italian bread reminds me of a loaf of bread with a lot of slices.
Of course.
And you have a lot of characters in it. So rather than B-R-E-D, which means bread, as B-R-E-A-D, I was thinking of your characters and your slices of life.
I love that you said that because that's what it feels like.
Is it true?
Well, yeah, there are all these different crazy people, but I love them, and they kind of made me what I am today.
So tell us who they are, because
Great.
I think those, and you sing, do you sing in the play?
I do. There is some iconic music in my childhood that just, oh God, it invokes such a feeling in me that I'm like, I have to incorporate it in the show.
And it's?
Like, for instance, I go to confession in my Catholic church to confess my sins at 7, and I take my whole family with me. And the only song in my head that kept coming up was Like a Prayer from Madonna. Because when I was that age, maybe that was the popular song, but that's just what I remember thinking of that
when
song.
You were going,
So I incorporated, like, you know.
Do you sing it then?
I do. I sing parts of it, and I think it's a great way to just kind of relate it to the audience, because so many people sit there and they go, I love this song. And, or they'll turn around and be like, oh my God, remember this? So it's so relatable so quickly. So it's kind of fun.
And the reason I bring up singing is because you've sung on cast albums, Broadway shows.
A lot of new cast recordings, which is exciting. A lot of material that is, I would say, in the works of being Broadway shows, and also a lot of off-Broadway stuff. So yeah.
So that transferred into this play, which is Italian Bread, and it's at the Hudson Theater.
It is.
And that's such a great little complex of theaters there.
Lovely.
But tell me some of the other characters.
So I call them my central characters. So my grandmother is the main character.
Of course, we know that, right?
Of course. And she's probably the strongest character because she's not your typical grandmother. You know, you think of a grandmother, you think of a sweet woman who wants to give candy and shower this little 6-year-old girl with love. And my grandmother showered me with love, but very differently. You know, she would say things like, if I was watching a Disney movie or a fairy tale, reading a fairy tale book, she would tell me there's absolutely no such thing, that this is, you know, this
fake.
She would curse. I'm not going to curse on
would?
air. Oh, God. And I mean, I had to be careful because I was cursing as these characters, and I don't take it offensively because I heard it every day.
Oh, wow.
It was one of the F word was my first word.
Is that from your grandmother?
Because it just came out, you know. So she was very different with a little girl to me. Looking at this woman, I
Does
learned
she
life
dominate
quickly.
through the play?
Oh, yeah. She kind of just, she's the master of these puppets. And then there's my dad, who's your loving traditional father that doesn't know how to handle a daughter but wants to help. It's wonderful. And then there's Mom, who is the opposite of a traditional Italian. She doesn't cook. She skeeves everything. She doesn't want to touch, you know, the food to cook. And she's always with Purell, and she's just wants to make life like a little bubble, and it's so lovely. And then there's Grandma being like, absolutely not. Don't listen. It's crazy.
Whose mother is Grandma?
So Grandma's my dad's mom.
So your
makes it even better for my mother, who's like, oh God.
I know, that's very funny.
And then there's my little sister.
Oh, so it's the two girls.
It's the two of us.
What about guests coming on stage? Do you have guests coming on stage?
You know what?
Or
yes.
are they virtual?
Oh, it's
what
so
are
funny. I had a lot of people come up to me in the last 6 months saying, like, I want to be on stage with this show. And I wanted to keep it as these characters, so I decided to add multimedia into this project. It's crazy. So what we have is this TV screen that really is incorporated throughout the show. And we have these celebrities, these little guests that come on, and they play these roles that move us through stories. So like I said, I go to church, and I confess my sins. Well, Steve Sharippa from The Sopranos plays the priest that we confess to.
Oh, how great.
So it's very fun.
Oh, that's good. So how'd you get these people to do these?
Some of them have been fans of the show, which was really exciting, and they were like, I want to read the script, and they read it, and they're totally on board.
Oh, perfect. Who else?
Mario Cantone, comedian, great actor. He's been on The View a bunch of times as a co-host. Also, Emmy Award winner Leslie Jordan, who is so great. And all these guys just play these great little roles that actually move the story. So it's kind of fun to see them do it.
And who's directing you?
So my director is Donna Drake.
So where will Italian Bread go from here?
Oh, goodness. So many people have been asking, and everyone has so many ideas, which is great.
I know, a lot of
that.
ideas.
I love that. I think the future's bright. I think there's a possibility that it could be in development for a sitcom and a further screenplay or movie, which is fun.
But let me ask you this. These are all your experiences. Could someone else, could you have like a lot of Italian breads all over the States and someone else playing the role?
I think we could, because this thing that I've always, it sounds crazy, I think we could. But the thing that always was something that I know that I'm good at is being relatable. So I think any, female that could do the role, it's challenging in the sense that you have to be able to do the characters, sing, dance a little, and have the stamina to do it and the presence.
And the stamina is from your Pilates.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe.
You teach Pilates.
I do.
Do you think that gives you the stamina?
Oh, yeah, it's in some form, absolutely. I mean, I can breathe better.
What's core? Is that core fusion?
It's all core fusion. And I teach at Exhale, too, which is like a big mind and body
And what do you do?
Oh, God, it's all core. It's all like pulling in, and you want to think of mind-body connection, so that helps me a lot when I'm performing.
So that's where you'll find your next cast members, taking class with you.
It's true.
Would you like to be in my Italian
It's true.
Bread?
If they can survive my class, I'm like, she could do the show.
Okay.
She can do it.
Can't wait to see the show. And I'm so glad, Candice, you came to see us today.
God. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for watching. Keep writing, JAQUINN1 at AOL.com.